Hey everyone, welcome back. So we have an exciting Thursday for you guys. Sorry I didn't go live early today. Like I thought I was going to be able to go around noon. I had the guys doing the drywall today. They were using drills and everything else was just noisy, and I got only the underlayment on the floors upstairs in the first floor, so you could hear everything. So I'm like, all right, I'll just hold off until they're done. And they didn't finish up until like 7:30, 8 o'clock. By the time I cleaned up, got everything ready, we were just now going live. So couple of things we're going to talk about today is obviously the Iren report, right? The short report that came out. We won't go over the whole freaking thing because it's like 20 some odd pages long. I think it's a bunch of, well, most of it is a bunch of BS, right? Well, I'll tell you guys the things that I think are kind of truthful a little bit there. And then we'll get into also core buying ASICs from Block, right? Block is creating ASIC machines there. That's kind of exciting there. We don't have a lot of details on it, so we'll kind of look at it that way. But we do have, and then we'll also take a look at institutions. Are the institutions still buying Bitcoin miners, or are they selling Bitcoin miners? If they are, which ones? So we'll take a look at that towards the end, and then we'll get into you guys' Q&A set of things. Also, if you guys are interested in seeing the before and after pictures of what my kitchen looks like now, let me know during the Q&A. I'll show you guys the pictures for that. I do have them. Okay, but as always, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Please do your own research, and I'm investing in fund coins and companies. Full disclosure as always. If you enjoy this type of content, please hit the like button. Definitely helps me out and the channel as well. Let's get into it here. So let's take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin and the miners really quick as well. Bitcoin is still like trading right around the 57,500 mark, right around there. It's at 57,200 right now. Not much going on. We still have Germany selling. I think Germany has sold the majority of the shares of Bitcoin that they do have. They only have like 250 million, I've heard, somewhere around there. Right, so it looks like the majority of the pain here is going to be done with Germany, at least, possibly tomorrow. So that should be good news, right? And then we have Mt. Gox, which will be coming up as well. Mt. Gox, I think, is going to be less of an issue here going forward, because some people will not be selling the Bitcoin that they do have. Others may hold on to it. It's going to take time for others to get the coins anyway, so it might not be as bad as it was with Germany here selling recently. But Bitcoin, what did it do today and yesterday? It was down today. It was down yesterday as well. It's down a little bit here on the day again. It's trying to break above the simple 200 moving average here, 20-day moving average right here, which is the green and now red line because we're below it. But it's trying to break up above it, and each time it does, it winds up being below it. And that was, I think, partially with Germany selling here. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, great. My puppy just threw up. Just licked it back up. She's sitting on the couch where I can see her. Oh, great. Okay. All right, concentrate. Okay. Going back to the miners here. The miners had a pretty rough day today. It wasn't a great day for them yesterday either. Iren had a really bad day today. It was down 13%. It was down like 20% on towards the beginning of the day, but it kind of bounced back a little bit. We'll talk about Iren here, obviously, a little bit as well. But you can see here who was up here today. Annie was up. BitDigital was up. Bitfarms was up just a little bit. DMG was up. Hive was up. Marathon was up just a little bit as well. Riot and Stronghold were up as well. And then all the miners were down here a little bit. Okay, so it wasn't too bad of the day. So let's get into the first story that we have, which is going to be on Iren here. And well, here's a picture of my afterwards, or doing the remodeling right now. But let's get into there it is, Iren. So I'm not going to go through the whole 20 pages, right? I thought this article here was pretty good representation of the report. So Culper Research calls out Iris Energy's misrepresentations and overvaluations, and we'll go through some of the sentences that they put in here. So here's in the report. A firm originally focused on Bitcoin mining that is now rebranding as a high-performance computing data center, right? So this is what they launched on. They should have called it Iren because it's called Iren now, not Iris Energy. So they got that wrong. Culper's analysis suggests that this strategic shift is more superficial than substantive, and the company's capabilities and potential in the HPC field are being misrepresented. I don't feel that they're being misrepresented right now, right? Iren has said that they are evaluating. They do have a customer right now that's generating about $1 million a month from them. It's short-term contracts, right? It's not long-term contracts. We knew that, but they are looking to possibly grow that side of the business, right? They have never, I don't feel that they have misrepresented that portion of the business. At least I don't feel that way, right? So I think there's possibility there. We don't know what the possibility is there. until we find out what kind of customer they got. Right, that's one of the questions that I have for all these miners that are getting into HPC is, okay, there's supposedly this huge demand for HPC AI, but why is that not translating over into actual customers and pretty good contracts where you have multi-year contracts going forward instead of these just a couple months here, a couple months there kind of contracts that we're seeing, right? So it's not just on them, it's on the whole industry in general. All right, going down here, the report underlines that Iren's existing facilities, all established before April 2023, are not well equipped to handle HPC workloads without significant further investment. Furthermore, CalPERS point out that the company's co-CEOs Daniel and Will Roberts have begun selling their shares as of February 2024 at a first since the company's IPO. Actually, I think they sold before then, but I could be wrong. I thought that was before the year was out even, before 2023. But let's take a look at the first sentence here, right? So the report underlines that Iren's existing facilities, all established before April 2023, are not well equipped to handle HPC workloads without significant further investments. What they're talking about there is basically turning those facilities into like a tier 3 data center, right? And they're probably talking about the facilities that are in Childress, I believe. Childress is built in a different way. It's costing them about $750,000 per megawatt to build that out, right? Whereas typically we see companies that are buying infrastructure are paying about $450,000 to like $350,000 per megawatt on average, somewhere in between there. So Iren is saying that they have very good density of not megawatts, but just wattage itself, right? What you can put into a system, clusters, things like that. It's all air cooled. They never stated that they're going to be doing redundancies there, right? So I think Dennis also pointed that out in previous X spaces that they don't have, cooling. They don't have redundancies on power and on internet, but that's why they're able to offer a little bit of a discount for that to the customers that do get into it. And they're using the HPC side of the business there for large language models, right? They're not using it for inference and things like that. So it's more short-term contracts. So I don't think this is a big deal. We know about this. They do have facilities in British Columbia, I believe, that are more, maybe a little bit better suited for it because of the climate there. It's a little bit cooler. And those are, I believe, also air-cooled as well. Now, the issue comes into play here when we have GPUs coming in next year from NVIDIA that are going to be pretty hefty, right, as far as demand on infrastructure and things like that. And then I think the following chip that's coming out later on is going to require basically water cooling or something like that. That's down the road here. Facilities can be retrofitted for that, just like CORZ retrofitting its facilities for its customer for CoreWeave, with their spending $300 million to retrofit basically 200 megawatts to be like a tier 3 data center, right? They're putting in all the cooling, the redundancies in power, and the redundancies in electricity or in internet as well, right? So that can be done, and the facilities that Iren has, I believe, are capable of being retrofitted for that need if needed. Okay. Going down here, like I said, on the Daniel and Will Roberts selling shares. Yes, they sold about $7 million worth of shares. Both of those brothers sold it right around actually exactly at the same time. So we knew that happened, and they said that they wanted to invest in other things as well. Okay, that's fine, right? They haven't taken anything since they went public in 2021. Okay, that's not a big deal, right? It happened, and it's done with. Next here, analysis of Iren's flagship Childress facility reveals a lack of crucial features for HPC applications such as backup power. So that's kind of what we talked about here, or uninterrupted power supplies. Iren's assertion that its air cooling system will be adequate for GPU clusters in Texas is also doubtful, considering the state's much higher temperatures compared to British Columbia. Yep, there you go, where Iren has previously conducted GPU tests, right? So in there, depending, again, if you're looking for like inference and things like that, you're going to need a tier 3 data center for that. For just large language models, you can possibly get away with having air cooled as long as you have efficient airflow through it, right? And you can do that. It's possible, but it's not ideal, but you can do that. Going down here, CalPERS also criticizes Iren's financial pronouncements, specifically its claim that its undeveloped land and power agreements are worth between 5 and 12 million per megawatts, suggesting billions in latent value The research firm contends that Iren has inaccurately quoted Morgan Stanley research note to substantiate this claim, right? Well, a lot of people have been quoting Morgan Stanley saying that the megawatts that some of these companies have should be valued much higher than where it is right now. So I don't think that's a diss on Iren itself. It's basically all the firms are doing that. As a result, according to Culper, Iren's shares are significantly overvalued compared to both M&A comps and publicly traded peers. If Iren's shares were valued at a similar multiple to recent M&A deals such as CoreWeave's offered for Core Scientific, which was a lowball offer, right, didn't go through. Riot's offer for Bitfarms, another lowball offer that didn't go through, at least not yet. And Cleanspark offer for Grid, the share price could be 55% lower. But they're also not talking about their future growth potential here. Okay, so I think this is BS here. They shouldn't really be talking about that because, like I said, CoreWeave's offer for Core didn't go through. Riot's offer for Bitfarms still hasn't gone through because it's just such a lowball offer. And then Grid, as far as what Cleanspark paid for Grid, was what 400 some odd thousand per megawatt or something like that. But you're also not including a lot of the growth that Grid didn't have, right? Whereas Cleanspark is growing, Iren is growing. Core Scientific is growing. All those things have to play into it as well. Next here, the research firm believes that Iren's misrepresentations will eventually be exposed and the company will continue to be a significant drain on cash. I think that's BS there. Using recent public deals in their sector as a benchmark, Culper argues that Iren's overvaluation is evident. These deals average a valuation of 2.5 million per megawatt. If the valuation multiple were applied to Iren, its share price would fall to $5.75, a 59% decrease from its current price. Okay. So they're looking at those. I don't know which deals they're actually looking at, but you can't look at those. You have to look at future growth potential that the company has, right? It has a huge pipeline in megawatts potential for them, which they own basically what do they call them? Greenfields. That they can turn into megawatts, right? They're also growing to 30 exahash this year, right? By the end of the year, there's just a lot more growth than we're seeing with other companies. So you're going to get a little bit of a better valuation here. Now, I do agree that Iren has recently been a little bit maybe overvalued when it comes to, if you look at the enterprise value compared to the exahash, right? Compared to other companies, they have been like towards the bottom, meaning that they are the most valued for that exahash compared to other companies. We'll take a look at that here shortly. And actually, let's take a look at that now, since we're talking about it here. So before we had the drop today in stock price for Iren, they were actually at like 200 some million per exahash value. Right, so they have come up here quite a bit. Compared to other companies here, like that are growing up as well, like Marathon's only 131 million, right? Cleanspark 134 million, and you got Riot at only 62 million, Bitfarms at 96 million, right? Those companies are, I think, more undervalued based on their current than like Iren is right now. I own Iren, so I'm kind of fighting my own bags here a little bit. But I do believe that Iren has come up quite tremendously recently. I think a little healthy pullback is needed. And I think this is why they really came out with a short report on them, because they are really the most overvalued here currently. But if you look at the future growth for them, like future exahash, right, by the end of the year, where they're going to be here, you can see that Iren at that point is only valued at 63 million, whereas Cleanspark is at 54, Bitfarms 48, Riot at only 33 million, Marathon's at 79 million, right? And then you get companies that don't have much growth, but they're being valued now 161 million, 157 million for TeraWolf, BitDigital 137, Hut 8, 133 million, right? Okay, those guys are looking at current valuations for future hash rate. They're looking like they are way overvalued here compared to some of these guys that actually have a lot of growth forward, right? So I expect some of these other guys here to do better going forward. Okay, so that kind of makes sense why they would actually do the short report. Yes, they are way undervalued in my opinion right now. They need a little healthy pullback. This has just helped, right? So if you got into it today and you bought the dip where you were greedy while others were fearful, good on you. I wish I could have done that. I don't have any cash laying around anymore with the home remodel and everything else. That's been eating up a lot of my cash. Hopefully the health stops soon because I want to buy these dips and I can't, and it's frustrating. But if you did, congrats to you. Okay, going down here, let's see what else we have here. I talked about that. In some Culper's research's report implies that Iren's market valuation is considerably inflated, with analysis suggesting that the company's worth could be 52 to 79% less than its current market price based on sum of all of the parts basis. I do, like I said, I do agree with that part a little bit here. I do think Iren has run up quite nicely, but it's based on them increasing their hash rate growth for this year. It's also based on the HPC AI play a little bit here. I think investors got into that. I think TeraWulf has been on a rocket here recently also because of it, where I think TeraWulf is probably a little bit overvalued right now, potentially. So there's other companies that have had the same run up here recently, but maybe not as much growth as Iren has. Okay, so overall, I think most of the stuff is BS, FUD, things like that. Things that I do agree with. I think Iren has come up a little bit here, and we need a little bit of a healthy pullback, because if you look at Iren here, where's it at? Right there. Okay, I mean, check this out. It's went, I mean, on a nice parabolic rise here, basically from the bottom here, which was right around here, all the way up to the top here, which was 272%, and this was in 46 trading days, or actually, sorry, 69 trading days, right? So we need a little bit of pullback here, which is nice to see, and I think it makes it a little bit more healthier going forward, right? RSI was kind of elevated as well, even though it was trading up here, came back down. I think it's a nice healthy reset. So that's kind of where I stand on it right now. Let me know in the comments or in the questions when we do get to those what you guys think of it. Okay. But next here is going to be on Block and CORZ Scientific. So Block's new Bitcoin mining chip to be part of an ongoing project with CORZ Scientific to decentralize mining hardware, which Block has always stated that they want to decentralize the mining here, make it available to consumers even, right? Make it so it's probably not as noisy, not as much as generating heat and things like that. Well, heat you can generate because you can use the heat in the wintertime, but in the summertime it's not that great. But this is what we really have on it here. So one of the largest owners and operators of high-powered digital infrastructure for Bitcoin mining and hosting services in North America today announced an agreement to supply CORZ Scientific with Block's new 3-nanometer mining ASICs built by the Proto team, representing approximately 15 exahash of hash rate. So they're going to be buying that, but what's the price that they're paying? What's the joules per terahash? They're not including that in here as well. The agreement provides the option for additional significant volume and is one of the industry's largest Bitcoin mining ASIC agreements announced in terms of hash rate. Well, not really. We saw companies buying, 20 exahash. Actually, Riot got a deal for like 30 some exahash and option to get to 100 exahash. So I don't think it's one of the largest. It's not the largest for sure. Going down here, I was trying to find some more information on it. There isn't much. They talk about the Proto team, the development, and some of the things that they're seeing here. Democratizing Bitcoin, one step forward, right? The mining chips, mining development kit, all this stuff. But we don't have any really substantive data that we'd like to look at, which is price per terahash and what is the joules per terahash. And then here is the from Mining Build, the latest 3-nanometer information here. I looked through this to see if I can find anything on joules per terahash. It's pretty vague. It's just kind of what they're looking for. Pre-sale discovery, purchasing, reliability, maintenance, software features, transparency, post-sale support. What are basically customers looking forward to this when they're buying, or what are some of the headaches that customers have with buying ASIC mining machines, right? And that's basically it here. So not a lot of information. I'm hoping to provide more information on it, but we'll see. Nonetheless, of course, Scientific buying 15 exahash is a great thing. Absolutely love seeing that. Like to see the pricing on it and the efficiency. That's kind of where we stand on it. Okay. And I think that is it on those two topics. And let's get into our institution side of things here, see where things stand up. And then we'll get into the Q&A side of things as well. So if we look at institutions here really quick, I pulled this in basically when the miners reported their June updates, right? So whenever they did that, I updated their information here, and I keep track of the last 6 months of institutions for number of shares, number of institutions, percentage that's owned by institutions. Do we have any strong buy ratings, hold ratings, underperform, sell ratings, and then the price targets, right, for the high, average, and low. And then we're looking at the how has that changed? So on the 24 weeks ago, we're looking at what was the stock price, then what is the current stock price difference right now, what is the stock price done recently here in the 24 weeks. And then we're looking at the month over month as well, data here for that. Okay, So a couple of things to take a look at here is also on the high and the average and lows. Those are the differences from basically 6 months ago. Okay. So we can see here that Wolf price targets have increased for the high to 450, average went up to 240. Iren went up to also increased by 450, average went up to 529. BitDeer actually was for the high flat, the average went down to decreased $1.50, low decreased by $2. Cleanspark increased by $15.80 here. For the high, average increased by $14.53 in the last 6 months, and the low increased by $14. Hut 8 increased a little bit as well by 4 for the high, 3 by the average, 3 something as well for the low. Cypher actually went up $1 for the high, 75 cents for the average, 50 cents. But Digital actually came down $1.70, right? That's kind of interesting. For the high, $1 or 40 cents for the average and 0 on the low. Bitfarms here went down $1. Yeah, for the high, 56 cents for the average, 70 cents down for the low. Hive also went down 14 cents on the high, 4 cents on the average, and 0 on the low side of things. Marathon stayed flat on the high. The average went up 5.28 and the low went up 9.50. Riot actually came down also $3 here for the high, 80 cents for the average, and 0 for the low. CORZ Scientific, huge increase here, $17 for the high, 11.60 for the average, and 50 cents for the low, right? So CORZ Scientific and Cleanspark have had the best increase by analysts as far as where the stock could possibly go, right, over the last 6 months. And let's take a look at down here on the charts here really quick as well. We can see this percent stock price change over the last 6 months. Wolf is up the most here, 124%, followed by Iren being up 73%. And then we got BitDeer up being 33%, Cleanspark up almost 50%, Hut 23%, Cypher up 15%. Then we got Digital down 2%, Bitfarms down 18%, Hive down 24%, Marathon down 25%, and Riot down 40% in the last 6 months. Right, not good. As far as the number of shares that have been bought by institutions, we can see that Riot has the most shares bought by institutions here in the last 6 months, 42. The difference between 6 months ago and now, so it's 42 million, followed by Cypher 38 million. Then we got Cleanspark at 36 million, and then after that we would have probably Marathon at 30 million, and then we got TerraWolf. Who else do we have here? Let's see here, Hut 8 as well, and then we got some here in the lower end side of things, 22 million for Hive, Bitfarms at 15, 14 for Digital as well. But the only one that actually had less over the last 6 months is BitDeer, surprisingly, right? I'm not sure why that is happening for BitDeer. I mean, they have a pretty good growth plan going forward, especially into 2025 and 2026. But yeah, I'm surprised that they had over the last 6 months a decrease in the number of shares where everybody else had an increase. Going now to month over month, we can see that Hut 8 has performed pretty much the best here, it looks like, over the last month here. It's up 36%. BitDeer's up 24%. Digital's up 28%. TerraWolf's up 23%. Then you got Hive being up 11%. CORZ Scientific up being just 1%. Then we got Iris down 17%. Cypher up down 4%. Marathon down 6%. Cleanspark down 13%. And Riot down 12%. And month-to-month change in shares owned by institutions, Hut 8 has had the most increase here. So I think that's maybe what's driving a lot of their increase here, is Hut 8 with institutions. Who else had pretty good numbers here? CORZ Scientific up 1.5 million shares, Marathon up 1.2 million, and then we had Bitfarms down 340, Hive down 890,000, Iris down 260,000, and everybody else was kind of in the green here as far as inflows from institutions. So it's always kind of nice to take a look at that, just to see where institutions are throwing their money into. And in the last month, Hut 8 has been a definite winner on that. I wonder if it's from the Co2 investment that they had, 150 million. Or was it 150 million? I think it was, yeah, I think it was 150 million, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I'm drawing off my memory here. My memory sometimes may not be that great. But yeah. Sorry. So CORZ was 58.41 million. I missed that one. Sorry. So that one had the most inflow here. Other than Riot for 6 months out. Okay. What does that mean for us here recently? I think we're still going to see possibly more inflows from the institution side of things, especially as things heat up a little bit here with Bitcoin going forward. I still expect Bitcoin to do really well in the next 12 to maybe 18 months. I don't know if it's going to be 18 months, but maybe 12 to 15 months, I would say, maybe somewhere around there. going forward. And I think at that point we'll continue to see inflows going into from the institution side of things as well. But we'll see. Okay. So that's it on all the data and everything else. You guys know the sales pitch here. It's basically my Patreon members. Thank you to all you guys again. And that's $8 a month. The link is in the description for that. If you want to join, you get access to all the spreadsheets and you get access to the Discord server, which I know I haven't been communicating much on there. Just been busy with everything else going on in the house. So I do apologize. Once that's all done, things will improve. And I still have a bunch of comments that I have to respond back to on YouTube as well. And we'll get to those hopefully tomorrow. Tomorrow might be a little bit of an easier day. So I do have that still to go through. But yeah, that is it. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things here. See what you guys think on things. And then really quick here, I think we might as well. I'll show you guys the current stuff that's going on in the kitchen, right? So here's the kitchen right now. Actually, I'll show you the before. So here's what the kitchen looks like there. And you can see that little small window. Right, I put in all the shiplap. I did all the tiles, everything in the past to get the kitchen to look. And as you can see, it's a pretty small kitchen, right? It's not a bad size, but it's a small island, and you got a couple cabinets here and a little bit of countertop space as well. And whenever we have family over for gatherings or anything like that, everybody just gathers in the kitchen, and it gets tight. You can't see it here, but just to the left, we had a pantry, built-in pantry, right? And then just right here, we had a hallway and another kind of built-in area for a fridge, right? So then when you look at it here, you can see kind of here was the pantry right in there, right, where my mouse went. And then the refrigerator was just, here's that hallway going in there, and the refrigerator was just stuck in there. And then you had the wall right there where the kitchen ended, basically. And you had an L shape here and an island right here. It was pretty small. So now we tore out that whole wall there, the pantry as well, the walls for the refrigerator as well, and we're putting everything on this wall here for the most part. We're putting the range over here, cabinets along here, no upper cabinets down here. We're putting a huge island over here, a heck of a lot more space. This room back here was never really utilized fully. It was just basically like a small room, like I don't know what you would call it, like a den or something like that, if that, but it was barely ever utilized. So we figured knock the wall down, make it a lot bigger, make it more cohesive for our family and everything else. But this is what I've been spending my time on this past week. So that's why yesterday I was kind of beat, and today was a much better day, but it was a long day, but we're getting stuff done. So that's it. All right, let's get into you guys' Q&A side of things, and then see what you guys have to say. All right. Let's see. Okay, I got a question over here. Question. Hello, Seb. Do you think now at price near 15 is a good entry point for Cleanspark? I don't have it in my portfolio yet. Not financial advice. Thank you. I do believe Cleanspark will still get to like around $70 this bull cycle, right? When that's going to be, whether it's going to be in the next 9 to 15 months or something like that, that's kind of where I'm guessing. I don't know exactly when it's going to happen. But as long as Bitcoin cooperates with us and it goes up to where we think it's going to go to, I think that's kind of where I would see it. So if you want to get shares in Cleanspark, I would say dollar cost average into it. I don't know exactly where it's going to be going to anytime soon, right? But in the long run, I think we will do very well. It's just a matter of being patient and dollar cost averaging into it. So I do think that even now you could probably still get, what would that be? Like a 5x potentially, right? If you can get at least a 2x or a 3x on something, that's not bad. Let's see. Thought I am buying along the pull down. However, just concerned I don't get trapped until the next cycle. Yeah, I'm sure that's a lot of people are thinking that right now, right? If we look at the previous cycles, Bitcoin typically doesn't do that well right after the halving event. It usually takes a little while for it to go up and start going parabolic. I think we're still not there yet. And then we got the Germany selling Bitcoin as well. That didn't help things out. But in due time, I do still believe that we will do well. Seb, do you still think Riot can cross 50 if BTC crosses 125? I think so. If they can improve their, like I've been saying all along, they need to improve their operations, improve their uptime. If they can do that, yes, I do think that they can definitely get to 50. I mean, they got huge growth, 30 exahash, 31 exahash this year. They're supposed to get to 40 sometime, I'm guessing early in 2025 as well, right? So that's going to be good growth there for them. So yeah, I do think so. Now that depends on Bitcoin. Bitcoin cooperates, right? Hello, Seb. Why aren't there much interest from institutions in Bitfarms recently? Let me see, where were we before on it? Institutions on the 6 months. I mean, they weren't that great. Yeah, 15 million here in the 6 months, and then last month was actually down a little bit. I think it's just the recent, how can I put this, disappointing events that we've seen, right? We had the Paraguay FUD. We had the Paraguay FUD again now with the increase in electricity cost by 14%, right? We had the CEO basically leave and was going to be looking for a new replacement. And then he started suing the company, so the company kicked him out, right? And then we hadn't had a CEO for a while. We got a new CEO there. We got Riot trying to take us over. So there's just a lot of stuff happening there. I don't know if maybe institutions don't like uncertainty because there's a lot of uncertainty in Bitfarms right now. Let's see. Do you do the work yourself or hire contractors? I try to do as much as I can. Electrical, I'm not going to touch. So I hired out contractors to do that. I got drywall ready and everything else for the most part. And then I hired some guys out to basically patch because I'm terrible at patching. So I did that. Let's see. Most undervalued smaller miner. If we're looking at the ones here in the list that I have, it would be probably Hive right now. Right. As far as some of the other smaller miners, I have to run the data on them. I still have to pull that data in. I will be doing that probably this weekend when I have a little time to pull in for Argo, Sphere 3D, Digihost, DMG. Who else is in there? I think Mawson's in there as well. And I'm missing one. I can't remember which one I'm missing now. There should be 6. I'm missing somebody. Can't remember which one. Those I'll be running later on this weekend. Let's see. Sub, any updates on, I think you were talking about Wolf. Do you think it goes back to 2? Wolf going back down to 2. I mean, it's had a huge run up here recently. It's had a nice little pullback here. It's was up at 6. It's down to 475. Here, we're looking at this really quick. 475. And I think that's a little bit more healthy than where it's been. But we might, we might go back down to like the $4 range before everything is said and done, before we go up higher. We'll see on that one. Go back here. Roger says, Germany selling Bitcoin looks to be over soon. Do you believe Mt. Gox will be next? Well, you have to also understand Mt. Gox, the creditors there, the people that are supposed to be getting it, a lot of the stuff is going to be transferred over OTC, and it's not going to be sold, right? So a lot of the investors that might still be holding on, there's going to be some portion of it that are going to be selling. We just don't know. The other thing is you're not going to be able to tell where all those coins went to and who's got them and what's going on with them, right? With Germany, you can kind of track it a little bit. But the ones from Mt. Gox, that's going to be a black box for the most part. You're going to see who's selling, who's not selling. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to be as bad as Germany selling here recently. Opinion on Q2 earnings. Which miners are going to hurt the most? I think the ones that had the highest HODL potentially, so that would be like Marathon, Riot, Hut 8, right? If they use the FSB rules, they're being dinged basically 10,000 per Bitcoin that they hold, right? So the more Bitcoin that you hold, you're going to get dinged a little bit more. And it's going to take you more, you would need more revenue from the regular operations and efficiencies improvements and things like that to work out in your favor at that point. But they're going to be pretty close. I think a lot of the miners, we'll do that maybe tomorrow's video. We'll do that. We'll take a look at the differences in revenue from Q1 to Q2 based on my estimates here for Q2 right now. And we'll see which one is down the most potentially as far as revenue is concerned. Question, Seb. Usually during short reports, does Iren need to clarify the report to shareholders? yes, they should come out with something like a rebuttal, right? They need to come out and saying, this is inaccurate. This is where we feel this is inaccurate. This is what we're doing. Actually, this is what we stated. They need to come out with something like that, right? And you got to go through the legal team and everything. So it always takes a little time. I think it took, what was it, 24 to 48 hours to do a rebuttal or something like that, because everybody gets dragged in at that point. So it takes time. Do you think this cycle is over and miners have completed their peaks and we have to wait 4 more years? No, I don't think so. This would be way too early. And the big money is not done making money, right? So you got BlackRock. BlackRock's going to want to make money. They got their Bitcoin ETFs this year. No, we're not done. I was not able to join the spaces where Hive CEO was speaking. Any interesting points were mentioned? Thank you. I think it's recorded, so you can re-listen to it. I'm drawing a blank on the person that did it. I know him. It's just I'm terrible with names. Gosh, I think it's Dr. Lewis. I think. Search for Dr. Lewis. I think he had a recording of it. There was some technical issues there, or timing issues as well. I think Iren was expecting it to be an hour later, so he came in about half an hour into it or so, somewhere around there. But he did answer all the questions there. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Let's see. Do you think that ER will drive miners down in August, given that cost of mining 1 BTC has doubled? Earnings will, do you think, okay, so earnings releases, do I think it will drive miners down? I don't know. I'm not sure on that. I think potentially it's being priced in already. But I don't know. It's hard to tell. I wish I had a better answer for you than that one. Let's see. NASDAQ was bad today. Do you think this is part of a larger correction and will pull BTC down further to maybe 46, 48? Oh gosh, I don't know if we're gonna go. I mean, Bitcoin's holding up pretty well, right? It hasn't been done too bad, even with NASDAQ going down today. If we look at Bitcoin here really quick, I mean, it's faring pretty well, right around the 57,000 mark. It's gone down to the 53,000 below a little bit, 53,700, which is our support line. That's held up. It came down again, and it's bounced off of that. So it's holding up pretty good here so far, right? If it doesn't hold below at 53,700, we're going to possibly going down to like the 51,000 mark, right? Now, if that doesn't hold, then I would think we're going down lower, but I just don't see that happening here. We might get a wick down to like the 47 if anything happens and come back up, right? You can never discount that from happening. But right now, I just see as 53.7 as being support, 51 being the next support if that doesn't hold. I'm thinking maybe 51 might be the bottom here if we go that low, right? Don't know for sure. What else do I have here? So you got 5,000 to spend. I already have Bitfarms, but since Wolf paid off debt, I am thinking of buying them. What do you think? Not financial advice. Wolf has had a huge run up here. I don't know. You may want to wait, maybe dollar cost average into it. Let me see here. Let's go back here. Wolf, and also we would need to see if they come out with any growth story for the remainder of this year and then maybe early next year. If they do that, then that might be a catalyst to drive the stock up even higher. But I mean, look at the growth that it's had here recently. Let's just take a look at from here to here. It is up 200%, right? So a little bit of pullback is good. I like seeing that. I think that's healthy. And then we'll see. It might come down to like the $4 range still, I think, potentially. Not 100% certain on that, but if you get dips down towards it, I would maybe buy the dips on it and then see where they go. Yeah, also, I would say maybe take a look at Riot potentially. I mean, Riot has had a downward trend here ever since its like little double peaks here. And it's been decimated here a little bit. It's down 50%, right? Whereas other miners are actually going up from it. So Riot might be interesting as well to take a look at. Okay, going back here. Hi Seb, do you still think Iren will reach 80 plus in this bull cycle even with the short report? Yeah, I mean the short report I think is going to be just a couple of days of not great performance, but it needed a little pullback. So I agree. Like I said, I agree with that. A little bit of report there where they were a little bit maybe overvalued potentially. A little pullback was nice. I think that was healthy. It might need a little bit more of a pullback, just a little bit, not a big one, and then we might be able to go forward. Right? They're going to be at 20 exahash by the end of September, 30 exahash by the end of December here. A lot of growth happening here. So as long as Bitcoin cooperates and it goes up to 100, 120,000, 150,000, then yes, I still think they could get close to $80 or plus, depending on how much FOMO we get, everything else. Let's see. If things go down south for the next 2 to 3 months, what do you think will be potential Riot bottom? Is there a chance it goes back to 6? I mean, if things go south, then yeah, I mean, they could get to 6 depending how south we go, right? I don't expect to see much of a south going down. But if it does happen, then yeah, you would have Riot down to 6. Maybe you could have other miners going down even as much, right? Or not as much, but similar amounts in percentage-wise. So yeah, it's a tough question. Let's see. Question: if Iren announces their monthly updates with positive news, will it start moving up? I would think so, right? As long as Bitcoin doesn't go down, as long as Bitcoin maybe is trading sideways or at least going up, I think that would help, right? They're at 10 exahash right now. They have 20 exahash growth here in the next 5 months, basically. That's a lot. Hey Seb, why do you still invest in Rivian despite it being 83% down in the last 5 years? Well, okay. I like the story there. I like the vehicles also. They're more, I would say, on the inside at least, they're more appealing to me, and I think they might be a little bit more appealing to a wider range of potential customers. Not a lot of people like the quite, what would you call it? Bare, I guess, interiors of Teslas. I like a little bling, okay? And I think a lot of customers also would like that, especially if you're spending, $80,000 or something like that. I'm also seeing something like a growth story like Tesla is a little bit, right? But Tesla, as time has gone on, has gotten into other things, basically AI, robots, right? Other things. They also have the last mile vehicles, the vans for deliveries and things like that. So I think there's a lot of potential there. And remember, Tesla was not profitable for the first number of years before they introduced, I think, the Model 3. At that point, then they started to become profitable with the larger volume of production. And I'm thinking maybe we could see the same thing with Rivian going forward. So Rivian for me is like would be another 5 to 10 year play potentially. That's the way I would look at it, maybe even longer. This report on Iren is BS. Culper Research is one guy who shorts and then dumps a negative report. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It comes out, market reacts, and that's what you get. Hi Seb, hope all is well. What are your near-term and long-term price targets on HUT? Thanks. HUT 8 is a tough one for me, unfortunately. We only have the 1 quarter of results for them with as a combined company, right? And it's kind of hard to figure out exactly where they possibly could be with their self-mining hash rate. That has been doing well. They have older machines as well. If they come out with some information and have at least maybe another quarter of data on them, we could maybe see what's going on there with the managed hosting, the hosting, and the other services that they do as well. We could kind of maybe see trend line maybe there. But right now it's tough. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly where I would see them. Angie, thank you so much for the super sticker. Let's see. When is the next upcoming earnings for any miner? The miners will be reporting possibly in August. It usually takes them about 5 to 6 weeks after the quarter ends to report those. Do you think CORZ can get to $15 in 2024? Yeah, I do think so. I think one of their warrants is going to be maybe getting exercised here within the next couple of days, potentially. I don't know exactly when. But it's supposed to have like a 20-day moving average on it. And then if it stays above that of the strike price of the warrant, that should get exercised. They should get some cash from that and also be able to pay off some debt. at that point, they came out saying that they're going to be buying block miners as it is, 15 exahash worth. So they got that going for them. And yeah, if they can just install and things like that, I think they will do well. But given that Bitcoin goes up in value in the next 6 months. Let's see. Hi Seb, do you think you can come out with some kind of story to move Cleanspark or Bitfarms like they did with Iren today? Getting really bored over here. Well, I think we need a story from Cleanspark or Bitfarms to come out with some good news. I think that would then move the stock. Oh, also as a reminder, I'm going to be having a space with Ben Gagnon from Bitfarms, this new CEO. That's going to be tomorrow at 4 Central Standard Time. We'll see if maybe Anthony Powers can also join in on the conversation there. We'll have you guys also ask questions if you want. We're going to do that like for 30 minutes to an hour possibly. So that should be fun. Right. I'm looking forward to that. Scott, thank you so much. Let's see. Ben is the CEO and still Bitfarms is not pumping. Why? Well, Bitcoin's not pumping either. And we need to find out exactly what his growth targets are, right? How does he do going forward? He's a new CEO, right? No CEO position before. He was the chief mining officer, so that would be CMO, I guess. So just give it a little time. Hibanashi, thank you so much for the super sticker. Let's see. Scott Richard says, Seb, I think Cleanspark is dead money for a while. Prove me wrong. I own a lot of Cleanspark. Well, so do I. I own a lot of shares of it as well. It might be, but see, that's the part that I don't really care if it's dead money for a little bit. I'm still way up on it right now. I'm up still 300%. I'm happy with that. I know in the long run, with Bitcoin going to maybe 120,000, 150,000, wherever it's going to go, maybe past that, the stock is going to do really well, especially as they grow towards their target of 32 exahash by the end of the year. And then they have 50 exahash already bought machines, so that's going to be happening sometime in 2025 as well. So I'm okay. I'm okay holding. I'm not too worried about it. What else do I have here? Do you think the short report on Iren is valid, or is it just exaggerations on truth as a way to manipulate the stock down, and the stock price will likely shoot back up soon? Yeah, I think a lot of it is BS. There are some truths to it, right? I agree with the company being maybe overvalued. I agree with that. I think it's gone up quite nicely here, tremendously actually, in the last couple of weeks, and a little pullback is healthy. So I think they timed it right. We saw the same thing happen with Hut 8, right? The Hut 8 stock was doing pretty well there, and then the report came out and tanked. Who else did we have a report on? We had a report on Riot that came out, a short report, right? So these guys are opportunistic. If they see something getting a little frothy or a little high, they'll come out with this kind of reports. They probably have them in their back pockets, and it's like, oh, this stock is kind of going up high nicely. Let's short it a little bit, right? Throw that out there. Do you think the Ethereum ETF launch will cause BTC to pump as well? I'm not sure. I don't know how much the Ethereum will pump itself on the ETF launch. We'll see how much inflows there are for that. Question, why is Germany selling their BTC? It was basically confiscated from illegal activities, I believe, at that point. And that's why they're selling it now. Let's see, we already covered that. Let's see. If Cleanspark $15, Bitfarms at 2.5, Iren at 11, would you say Bitfarms still most undervalued or at these prices? Yeah. I think Bitfarms should be at least a double from where it's at right now. I think Cleanspark is pretty well valued, kind of on the lower end, but pretty well valued. Same thing with Iren right now. Do you think Riot crosses $20.24, assuming BTC chops the entire year around 70? Oh gosh, if it chops around 70,000 towards the end of the year, can they go back up basically 100% at that point? That's gonna be tough. We will need to see some really good numbers from their operational updates, as far as much better uptimes and all that stuff. Maybe then, but that still will be really tough for them to get to 20. Let's see. Which miner has the best balance sheet? That would be Marathon. Marathon's got over 1 point some billion, including cash and BTC HODL. Let's See, David says, I agree with Seb. Wait for the dips. We see 90% of gains on just 10 to 15 day trading days per year. Those 10 days generally 10 to 30. Yeah. So that means a lot of waiting before crazy days. Yeah, exactly. You just got to be patient. There's, those trading days. If you miss those trading days on the stocks and the miners or in Bitcoin in general, I mean, you're going to miss a lot. A lot of the stuff is just kind of boring, kind of going down sideways or whatever it might be. But then you get those couple days, 10 to 15, like he says, and this is where you get all your gains from. So, don't try to be too smart with the stocks. Don't try to trade them too much because you could miss out on something. Let's see. Do you think Riot mines fewer BTC in July due to heat? I'm going to give Jason the benefit of the doubt. Jason has said before that the new facility in Corsicana, their curtailment will be only 3 to 5% per year, okay, on average. If that is the case, they should be mining more, even with the heat. They got immersion cooling machines there. There is no reason for them to shut down. And I think, unless they're curtailing, but they don't have a PPA in place, and I don't think with a PPA in place you can get credits. I think you can only get credits if you have, I could be wrong on that. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think that's the way it would work. So I would expect them to do much better in July than they did in June. Let's see. Analysts at Bernstein SG, which initiated coverage on Iris Energy, disputed several of the points made by Culper. Bernstein has an outperform rating and a target price of 26. Yeah, I mean, in the long run, I agree. Price will be much higher from where it is right now. Currently, it is a little overvalued in my opinion, just a little bit. So it was a little bit overvalued. And the pullback today made it more evenly valued, I think. Maybe a little bit lower end of it. But I agree there. Let's see here. I see you're wearing a new watch. LOL, what kind? Looks good. It is a Citizen. It's not a new watch. I've had this watch for, 15 years or something like that. 13 years, 15. It was when my wife and I were going to Poland for my sister-in-law's wedding. I bought it then, and it was like $300 at that point. And I've had this thing for, I mean, they're going on probably 16-year anniversary. So it's been like 16 years. And the thing still works fantastically. I love this watch. I don't like big, the big, what do you call it? The big watches. I like smaller watches that just fit nice. And this one is a blast. I love this watch. And I haven't had anything to do with it either. It's just, put it in the sun and the sucker works. I love it. Going down here. Okay, covered that one already. What's your estimated time frame for those 10 to 15 days of huge gains in the next 12 to 15 months? Don't know when it's going to happen, but we're going to see those in the next 12 to 15 months. Gary says, same short company who shorted Cleanspark twice before, now shorting Iren, will be the same result long term. Yeah, I agree. Hey Seb, thanks a lot for supporting us through your thoughts. Much appreciated. Yeah, you're very welcome. You guys make me think. I like it. Seb, what miner are you most confident to reach your most aggressive target? Maybe that's not my aggressive target. It's their aggressive target, right? So you're talking about exahash there or price targets? If we're talking about exahash, the miners, I think Iren can do it. Riot can do it. Marathon should be able to do it as well. And then Bitfarms, I give them like 80-90% that they can reach it, right? And that's only because they're a little bit delayed here in getting 12 exahash. But if we see good growth going forward, that might change. Now, as far as who else was there? Cleanspark needs to buy. Geez, I don't know if they have enough infrastructure right now to do it or not. I can't remember if they bought enough. I know they bought a bunch of sites. They bought Grid as well. We'll get an update maybe for July. We'll see where they stand at that point. Cleanspark also have like at 90-95%, but they've also beat their numbers before, so I'm pretty confident about them as well. If you had to pick one miner stock to stick with from now until end of year 2025, which one you pick? Oh wow. If I had to pick one right now, man, that's a tough one. Core has a good business coming up with HPC AI through CoreWeave, but that's not going to be until 2025. You got BitDeer also got a lot of growth in 2025, along with TeraWolf Cypher as well. Geez. You got Riot that has options to get to 100 exahash. You got Marathon getting 50 exahash this year. You got Cleanspark getting 32 with 50 exahash for next year as well. Man, I don't know if I would be able to pick just one. That's a tough one. I mean, I'll just go back to the one that I originally got into, which was Cleanspark. I think I would probably hold on to that one. That one has done the best, I think, so far from when I got into it and where it's at now. So I'd probably hold on to that one with the hopes that they do the same thing going forward, right? Where they outgrow the other competition potentially. That's possibly the way I would go. The BevNeat says if Bitcoin goes up just a little, Iren will recover tomorrow. Also nice. Citizen watches are dope and affordable. Yeah, they're really good. Definitely like this one. I was surprised. I thought maybe the watch would last me a couple years, right? It's lasting me like 16 years already. It's like, it's amazing. I need to get it polished up though. It's getting a little dull there. What else do we have here? Is the $11 Iren fair value now? It is on the lower end, but it is, I think, fair value for it. Would you say it's a no-brainer to DCA on miners for the rest of the year? I would think so. If you believe that Bitcoin's going to go up, at least a 2 to 3x from where we are right now, at that point, I still think that some of the miners are a no-brainer to dollar cost averaging if you can. Uday just became a new member. Thank you so much. All right, we're catching up to all the questions here. Scott says, like the show, folks. His kids need new baseball. I'm guessing saying gloves. Actually, my boys don't play baseball. My boys are more into soccer and football right now. And to be honest, I never got into baseball either. Baseball is just too boring for me. Soccer, there's always something going on. With football, there's something going on. Basketball, I was really big into basketball back in the day. See, Danny says, boredom has been moving between miners. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I mean, it does get boring at sometimes. Let's see here. Thank you for your time from New Zealand. I guess that's New Zealand, right? Thank you so much for coming in. Greatly appreciate it, and you're very welcome. Scott, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's see. All right, I'm pretty much caught up to all your guys' questions here. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. And tomorrow, like I said, we'll get into maybe the revenue side of things, right? Where was the revenue in Q1? What is the estimated revenue here now in Q2 as well? How much of a difference is it right now for the miners? And then maybe I'll see if I can maybe figure out some numbers. If I have time, I'll see if I can maybe run some numbers on it as far as what their costs might be on estimated costs. It's not going to be exact costs, it's going to be estimated costs. So we'll see if I can do that. Okay. But other than that, tomorrow's Friday. Hope you guys had a great weekend or week. Tomorrow, hope you guys have a great Friday. And we'll cover anything that happens then. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.